Welcome to this channel. So today I like to continue on to share the ancient Wing Chun sparring basic part 6, and that is on the three-dimensional movement development. Now, in the previous two uh, video, part 4 and part 5, I share on the breathing development and the uh, muscular endurance development with the Red Bull training band. Now, do not take those lightly, okay? Those are the core, the soul of fighting. No, there's no such thing as this internal, that internal magic. Real life is based on breathing and the muscular endurance, as we have already covered in the uh, part 4 and part 5. Now let's look at an excellent video clip, which you can see in YouTube by Shannon, who is the daughter of the Bruce Lee, and see what is going on when we want to talk about Wing Chun.
Said, my Wing Chun training didn't suit me well, and I was really out of breath.
So that's what happened. If one don't develop the breathing, one don't develop the muscular endurance, you expect that. And Uncle Bruce Lee have known that 60 years ago in 1960s. So that's why we need to really know what is going on the breathing and the muscular endurance training, like in the part 4, part 5. Without that, there's no way you can continue on what I'm going to share with you today. What I'm going to share with you today is extremely important. This is something in Wing Chun 1960 never go through. However, this is the core of the ancient Wing Chun, which is based on Shaolin, real Shaolin, short strike, and Jana Chi Chi Guang. For real deal. Now, so today I like to share with you on the three-dimensional movement development. One must have this development, or else forget about sparring or fighting. One really clueless on what is going on if one do not develop this. In Wing Chun, you always heard that, oh, don't chase hand. But if one never develop the three-dimensional movement development, of course you're going to chase hand. Why? Because one don't know what is the issue anyway. One never have trained. What one train is, you go chi sao, this hand technique versus that hand techniques. You watch movie, that is all chasing hand. As what I mentioned in the previous video. You look at Xi Xiaodong. Does people care for your what hand techniques or what internal power or absorbing your force? Does Xi Xiaodong care for that? Does those in the MMA and UFC fight care for that? If you go face a Western boxer or a Thai boxer or a BJJ friend or a judoka in the Olympic, do you think they care for the hand techniques? Or they care only one thing: can you play in the three-dimensional, meaning the distance? the angle, the lever. Can you play that? Now, 460 years ago, General Qi Shi Guang already said it. Go for the body. Don't block. Don't resist. That apply in today's MMA and all the legit martial arts. So one need to know how to move in the three-dimensional uh, play. It is a play in the three-dimensional. So one need to know how to move. And if one want to, like our uncle Bruce Lee say, be like water, my friend. You want to flow? Well, if you want to flow, you need to know how to handle the three-dimensional movement. Without that, it is called hopeless. Your T cell is not going to develop you for this. Your sets practice is not going to develop you for this. Your wooden dummy is not going to develop you for this. And that's why we just heard that just now from Shannon. Of course, Bruce is really frustrated. Couldn't breathe. So this is a reality. So it is a problem 60 years that it needs to be solved. Now the ancient is not doing that. So, okay, today we want to talk about this three-dimension movement development. This is the basic of fighting. But one need to first have the part 4 and part 5 development in the breathing and muscular endurance. Otherwise, it's like you don't even have a car. What are you going to do? Racing when you don't even have a car? Now, so why it is that three-dimensional movement development is important? Well, because one need to aware of the three-dimensional space. Because fighting is continuous moving. Only in the movie you're standing there, exchange punch and doing all your tons or whatever. In the real life, just look at how Xi Xiaodong fight. Nobody going to do standing down there, exchange punching or blocking or all those kind of stuff. Now another thing too, one need to aware of the three-dimensional, the change in the distance, the change in the angle, and the change in the level. And also one need to be able to move one's body in the three-dimensional space. And if one want to move one's body in the three-dimensional space, if you don't know how to breathe, you don't have muscular endurance, what are you going to do? Practically, you cannot take even a move. So that's how serious this thing is. So there are three basic practice for the three-dimensional movement development or three-dimensional movement handling development. It's very simple. Okay? The first thing is you get a target, be it your wooden dummy or whatever, or your wall or your chair. You get a target. Okay? You keep this at the long fist distance where you can punch him, he can punch you, and you can kick him, he can kick you at this distance. Okay? At this distance. So you keep this distance and you go around changing the angle and the level to strike the opponent. For example, you change the angle to this angle, strike him. You change to this angle and you lower down your level and you strike him. You can go continue with the lower to strike him while changing angle, and you can go change the angle up to strike him. So the first exercise or training is stay in the long distance. You're keeping changing angle and level to strike at this range. That's the first thing. For Wing Chun, 1850, because this is a long fist range, one use the short finger. Okay? Short finger, because this is a light tools. In today's, we can adapt to Western boxing using jab. Okay? At this distance, this is a long fist distance, changing the angle and level. Now, that's the first one. The second one is you stay in the short strike distance. Short strike distance. It's the same thing. You change the angle. You change the level. You can get into guaima and those kind of stuff and changing, keeping changing. Okay? Now, there is for the short strike range where you want to touch him. Okay? You use the keizang, you touch your opponent because this is a sticking body. Short strike. You can going down, all sort of stuff. Okay? The notion for this tool is one, be able to understand, to have experience, awareness on the distance, the level, and the angle change. With these two exercise, number one and number two. Because your opponent is going to attack you that way. And you have to go to move away to attack him back. For example, like the first exercise. In the long fist distance, changing angle and level. He strike me, I going down and strike him. There's the play on that. You need to know this. Again, nobody's gonna standing here to do all this kind of stuff. Just move away, like Chi Chi Guang said. You just go strike him in the angle where he have to defend himself, or it is at his opening. Same thing. You come in, you just go straight in, and you can go take down. That's for the short strike range. So the first two exercise is for one to have fun with it. Be able to get used to. In the long fist range and the short strike range. Okay, now. The third exercise is, now you add in the change of the range. Instead of strike, I changing angle to strike. I strike, I get in close. So changing from the long fist range to the short strike range already. Okay? Or strike, I'm going to take down. So this way, one, play with the three-dimensional. The range, the level, the angle. Okay? Now, the fourth thing is this. The fourth thing is you want to, after you are good at 1, 2, 3, you want to go step by step. 1, 2, make sure good at the is fluent with the exercise 1 and then go to the second. and then only good at the second, then you go to third. Don't jump around. Okay. So the fourth is now you want to continue on the third one. Say before is like in the third exercise, strike him. I go this way, and that's it. Two move or the three move, right? Long, short, short, long. Now, at the fourth is you want to flow, meaning continues on. Long, short, short, long, and continuous. Many movement. With the third, you probably have a three movement. For the fourth exercises, you maybe have six movement. You want to continue, and there's flow. Okay? And for the fourth exercise, after you be able to continue and flow playing with this three-dimensional, you want to speed up each move. Okay? So this four exercise or training is the training of the 3D movement handling. Okay? So if you train with that, you face somebody, nothing scare you because you know the environment, you know how your body will move around. Now, if you don't do that, you just do your sets, your chi sao, and your wooden dummy, which is all very limited. Then good luck. When people change the distance, change the angle and level in the same time at you and flow in continuous, and your mind is always in only your hand techniques, you know how the the result is. Just look at the past 25 years of how Wing Chuners fighting in the MMA and fighting Xi Xiaodong. So this three-dimensional movement development is critical. And this is what Qi Ji Guang and Shaolin Short Strike is about. See, I'm not even talking about momentum. I'm not even talking about Wing Chun's uniqueness, which is in here. Wing Chun is a short strike art. I'm just talking about the basic genre of Wing Chun development, which is the three-dimensional movement development. Now, details, as I have put it in the restricting Wing Chun, your three-dimension move, including going down, and handling of your recycling momentum to flow, you need to have that tools, develop it. Otherwise, how is one going to play? That's why it is very critical for I present this the three books to the West, because this is the basic. The Qi Ji Guang, the Shaolin Short Strike, and the muscular endurance, so forth, and the breathing. So we know today, like in the records, what Bruce Lee don't know, we have it now transferred to the West, the basic. And this is not even momentum yet. So this is how critical it is. And one need to develop things step by step. So, sorry, there's no internal art. internal vibration, internal chi. Nonsense. 460 years ago, General Chi Chi Guang already said clearly in this book. You want to go to war? You better know what you're doing. You better know how to play this thing. That's why if you look at General Chi Chi Guang's 32 momentum here, it is all based on the three-dimensional movement handling as the basis. So this is part 6. Now, what I like to tell you is this. S21, the group is there, the set is there. What is it? It is a free tutorial for what is the ancient Wing Chun. Seriously, how many people really have the perseverance to train the S21, to develop something? And thus, up to now, 6 part of the Wing Chun sparring, it is the basic of how the sparring is supposed to be developed. 2 of those, the S21 and the sparring, I give it for free. Yet how many really serious on it, want to develop something? It can be thousands of dollars of online class, and yet this is free. The most you have to buy is these books, if needed, if one want to know it, and one don't need to have these 3 books. As I share with you all in this S21 and this part 6 of the Wing Chun sparring. How many really take it serious and learn something? One don't need to be the best fighter. And in fact, I'm 60 somethings now, and I'm not going to train myself into the high aerobic and aerobic and all really fighting. But at least that I go through this, I know what is fighting is about. And everybody can do that. Even one don't have a good health condition, one can, do it slowly, and one know what it is. So like today is the three-dimensional movement development. One can even use it in supermarket. Why? How many times when you go grocery shopping, the cart running crazy by accident, you can move away. Or somebody's cart lost track, so you can go and help. That is what Chinese martial art is about. Not about who is the number one fighter, who can beat who, but one can use this in everyday life. And one don't even have to really get gung-ho to try to fight everybody or to prove something. It is an art which is helping one's daily living. That's Chinese Kung Fu. And that's Wing Chun. So this is what I'd like to share with you. I'm thinking to do a live YouTube for question and answer for the S21 and the and this Wing Chun sparring. If people is interested on it, people who really want to learn. Okay. Again, I want to say this channel is for educations and culture. This is not a martial art channel selling this and selling that. This is talking about what is this, what it is, so that people can know, can learn, can benefit everyday's life, not going fighting. Say for this 6 part of the sparring, the Wing Chun sparring, one know about it, one don't even have to fight. You look at the thing, oh man, this is going to cause problem. I'm going to walk away. Or at this angle, I'm going to get problem. I'm going to walk away. It's better to be chicken to avoid all the problem than try to be gung ho and have no idea on what one walk into.